today's topic of discussion is digital innovation, which I think we'd all agree is such a hot topic in the industry right now. Digital disruption, I think, was definitely the buzz phrase for 2014. And is certainly going to continue to be a major focus for CIOs and CMOs in 2015. We're fortunate enough to have 5 experienced and very successful digital innovators on our speaking panel today who will each share with you some really interesting insights and their views and tips and strategies on digital innovation.
Disruption doesn't just come from technology. More often, it comes from business models, and digital just opens up the ability to run businesses more cheaply.
Again, echoing what AJ said about the customer centricity and the ability to take something that is a massively difficult and complex process and reduce it to something that's extremely simple for the users at the front and the back end, and all that complexity we hide. So if we've got an ability to take all that complexity, hide it and deal with it in the background, but for whoever our users or our customers are, make it extremely simple, that's the way that I feel that the world's going. And
the way to survive or to surf this wave is first with understanding, and that is why these kind of things are so important. Is try to really evolve our mental framework to try to understand the problem, because I am seeing that many organizations are thinking that they are tackling the problem when they are not. Many are saying, yes, we have a digital transformation plan in place, and that is not a digital transformation plan. It might be a IT modernization plan, it could be many things, but not really a digital transformation plan. So it's important to understand what the problem is and what the roadmap to reach the destination should be. To have a digital DNA is not about the technology, it's about us. It's about how you think, how you feel, how you react. In general, you need to react differently.
With digital, clearly now there's an opportunity to create new value in a differentiated way, and it's also created a real race for the customer. So both those things have presented both opportunities and threats in what is an immature environment.
Disruption's really innovation in a particular area of your business, and it is the business. It's not technology. Technology is facilitating that disruption or that innovation that you're bringing in, and ideally you want to be breaking the value chain for your competitors or the people that are in the market now, like what Seek has done, like what Computershare did with registry services initially. The Tiger Team's basically, you have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 super bright people, and their sole job is to actually look at disruption and innovation and test new ideas out.
For us, the real gold is our people. And each one of them is an innovator. And we've on purpose stayed away from innovation teams or labs team or something like that, because what actually ends up happening when you create this elite team is you're telling the rest of the people, these people are really good, they will innovate, you're not as good, you won't innovate. So for us, employing every person into car sales is a mammoth job in itself, and it's something that you help us with. From my perspective, every person we hire, we have to raise the bar. We have to raise the bar. And Amazon famously started this word, the bar raising strategy. Every time you are hiring a person, that person has to be better than the last person you hired. Tribal Leadership was another book that Tony Shea, who's the CEO of Zappos, recommended. So we all read Tribal Leadership, and that was very inspiring for us. In fact, we went to the extent of implementing a tribal structure in our business, where the traditional structure is your functions reporting to functions, your someone reporting to the PMO, someone reporting to the development head, someone reporting to the marketing head, someone reporting to the product head, etc., etc. And that's great from a career development perspective, because the development head really knows how to develop a developer to that next level of being a better developer. But is it the right thing for the business? because business has a number of functions they have to work together to deliver for the customer, and we wanted a more customer-centric structure. So from this tribal leadership perspective, we created this thing called tribes. It's an operating structure where each tribe is there to deliver for a particular customer segment. And it's a multifunctional tribe, including marketing, including product, including different parts of technology. And within the tribe, we had this concept of tribal leader. And this tribal leader could be a developer, could be a marketing person, could be anyone. It's a person who is able to do two things: keep us on track, delivery, and a person who is able to deliver happiness.
I might flip it a little bit, just talk about something which I don't think people talk about when it comes to transformation, that's executive incentives. I actually think that that's almost an absolute essential enabler for any form of transformation. If you don't have the executive incentives, I'm talking the CEO and the reports to the exec, if their incentives aren't right, I don't think it can happen. It's not enough on its own, but if they're not right, it can't happen. And we've been on a journey at Seek, so I'm sort of one of the lab rats for this. We've got a couple of people on our board who are passionate about getting incentives right. And one of the things that our board implemented to us about 3 or 4 years ago, when we, as a management team, came up and said, hey, we're about to go through this whole nother wave of transformation and disruption, this is coming, and we need to know if we need to go on a journey. And the board not only embraced it, but then flipped it on us. And they changed our incentives quite dramatically. So the first thing they did is, for all of the execs, they removed 1 year cash-based STIs, just gone. So what they wanted to remove short-term EBITDAs for the company or even for your division, especially bad, just from the management discussion. What they wanted us focused on was the 3 to 5 year share price. Their view was that's what was important, that they could ride between the CEO and the board, they could ride shotgun for us for the next few years. And what they wanted all of us focused on was, as a team, how are we going to deliver value in 3 to 5 years' time.
They're adopting lean and agile and customer-led design thinking, all of those good things. I think, to William's point, the bigger challenge though is the organisational transformation, and that's what we're now trying to put a framework around to move the organisation. So recently we've put together a digital transformation group, which represents some of the board members, 3 of the board members across CFO, who owns IT, HR, as well as commercial, who owns customer. And then there's myself and the CIO, and that's obviously that's governance, but it's also about top-down leadership, and it's starting there. And so we've started the conversation around incentives. Fortunately, already the business has already put digital expertise as a leadership capability, and there's KPIs aligned down to management group around that. How that is measured and how that is operationalised is still being thought through. So how do you actually demonstrate digital expertise? That work hasn't been done, and that's the conversation we're having now.
And as Fiona's example, you get the board engaged, you get them involved, and then you get them engaged with those people that are innovative and creative, and try and teach them about what that actually means as well. They don't have to understand it. They just have to feel like it's going to make a difference. And if you can convince them it's going to make a difference and it's going to save them money or create an outcome that's good for the business, then they're going to support it. So that's probably the best advice I can give you around that side. And try and look for someone that's not in the technology group, in marketing or in another business unit or division, that is creative, that is coming up with this sort of stuff, and get engaged with them and work with them to help generate that sort of change or innovation that you can take to the rest of the business. Create an ally in other business units.
The old approach to project governance doesn't work. That is my view. I mean, to focus on vertical with horizontal integration is not good enough. What I am pushing is horizontal governance, of course with vertical project, but it can sound the same, but it's not. Governance need to be changed to really ensure that the UX skin is central, that the information skeleton is central, and then you have, yes, your website, your HR system, your CRM, whatever, but if you focus on the verticals, you are limiting your possibility.
We recently had the opportunity to have a combined offsite with our marketing team, So the product and technology team and marketing team had a combined offsite, and it was amazing. We broke up into 2 separate groups, and the marketing team was in one team and we were in another team, and we basically said, look, we need to find better ways of working together. Let's have a bitching session, we literally said. And you guys come up with what you don't like about product and technology, and we said, look, come up with I wish you did this. And product and technology came up with I wish you did this. We came back together, we put it all on the board. 90% of what we said was exactly the same. And it was all about the customer.
The way that because I'm not a technologist, but I'm leading a bunch of technology people, I kind of think about my job as just purely to, set the direction, remove the roadblocks, and be the head cheerleader.
In a progressive digital organization, we should work very hard to get rid of deadlines and projects. Yeah. Projects are not important. The customer is important. The customer metrics are important. Projects mean nothing. I completed a project on time. Who cares? Did you actually achieve anything?
Today, that word deadline's really, really dangerous. But then, to the point that we're making, how do you then couple that with an ASX-listed governance environment where you've got a board who's used to, 40 million of capex? I want to know exactly what you're producing when. That's the journey that's bloody hard to take them on. I've got a 45 million budget, 30 million capex this year, and I'm not taking one thing to the board, because I'm breaking it all down into little $500,000 chunks.
For the CIOs in the room, I have very good news and very bad news. If you talk to any headhunter, you will know that last year was the hottest year for a CIO. I mean, never before there were so many organizations hiring or finding or trying to find a CIO. In my industry in particular, 30% of the universities in the country were looking for a CIO just last year. The bad news is never in the past there were more fired CIOs than last year. More than 40 or 50 big companies let go their CIOs. So it's an interesting market. The difference between what is the typical technologist and what is the transformational leader. Certainly, from my perspective, the shift in the market is about that. Of course, organizations understand that some transformation is required, and if you keep your service provider, I am not business, I am just serving you, tell me what you need and I will do it, or you are so focused on the engine room, or you are gone.
Getting the balance between chaos and bureaucracy right, as well as getting the balance between autonomy and alignment. So how do you take the C-suite along on a journey, educate, improve literacy, but then also empower the business to go and solve the business problem or the customer's problem and deliver value? And I guess that's what we're working through right now. So we're trying to do both. We're trying to get engagement, understanding, but then we're also trying to change the past ways of managing teams so that they're empowered to say, so identify the business problem, but identify and the value. We'll measure you on the value that you deliver, not on whether you deliver your project on time and on budget. And the conversation and getting people comfortable with that is a big change. And I think it's years of history that you're trying to change. I'm working in a very mature, established business, and to try and change those governance controls and decision making takes time.
It really comes down to how the board and people around you perceive it, and at the end of the day it comes down to, if you're an ASX listed company, stock price. As Michael was saying before, if you're not an ASX listed company, it's still going to be related to what's the value of our company, and that's what the board understands. So if you can actually put it into the terms for them that says, here's a track or here's a path where if we focus on innovation and creativity in our technology and our approach, these are the benefits that we can deliver. And I think you've got to find a way to try and relate that and engage your board and your CEO in that conversation, because they want that goal too. That's exactly what they want. That's what they're being measured on.
Working inside of Fairfax, the first sort of 3 years, Fairfax established, this is now 8 years ago, about and first 3 years, Fairfax established this company called Fairfax Digital, which was supposed to be this digital arm of Fairfax. So, you know, technically, everything we're saying, they did the right thing, right? They established Fairfax Digital. They shouldn't have been disrupted, but they were still disrupted. And I think really what it came down to is are you really serious about Fairfax Digital, or have you just started Fairfax Digital for the sake of saying we are disrupting ourselves? You really have to be true to the cause. And unless you are true to the cause and investing heavily, and I think it requires brave leadership, which there is a massive lack of everywhere. To me, it just comes down to the expectations you set on people and the kind of people you hire. I'm a firm believer in hiring generalists is a lot better, and smarter people tend to be generalists rather than specialists these days. Netflix has this graph that shows you specialize people more and more, and you can't find good talent because the smartest of people want to do multiple things. They don't want to specialize and be boxed into a pigeonhole. So it's that concept of really employing innovators.
People, they're your biggest cost, but they're your biggest asset.